Believe it or not, the 2022-23 NHL season is quickly approaching, and the Avs are preparing to defend their title. To win the Cup last year, we saw players like Valerie Nachkin and Nazem Kadri step up big time. So that leads us to today's video. Which Avs players should you watch for this season to step up or maybe decline? So with that being said, let's get into it. The first player that I think you should watch for is the obvious one, Valerie Nachkin. He stepped up big time in the playoffs last season. He put up 15 points through 20 games and made some huge plays, especially in the Stanley Cup final. Of course, he had that huge game-winning assist in Game 1 and multiple other goals and played the final game through an injury to help win the Cup. He's on the verge of becoming a star in the league. He signed a brand new contract this offseason, and you're going to want to watch for him to increase his performance this year and break into that star category of the NHL. Next is a rather unknown in Oskar Allison. He is from Sweden and was drafted 28th overall in the first round in 2021 by the Avalanche. He put up 24 points in 33 games with the Oshawa Generals last season in the OHL. He will play for the Colorado Eagles this season, and I could see him being a regular in the Avs lineup by the end of the season or nearing the playoffs and making many appearances in the lineup. He's just 19 years old, but has burst onto the scene with his skill and just elite shooting ability. He's a mad sniper, and in my opinion, he's another developing player in the league, and I think he's a guy that you're going to want to watch for as he could develop into a full-time Avs player by the end of the season. The next player is a guy that I don't think got enough credit last year, and that's Alex Newhook. Newhook was picked 16th overall by the Avs in 2019. Newhook was a rookie last year and still made 71 appearances in the regular season. And while he didn't begin the playoffs in the lineup, he worked his way in and was a solid contributor to the team. He played the entire year on the third and fourth line. Should he get the opportunity to move up and play with guys like Nichushkin, Landeskog, Lehkonen, and Rantanen, he has the talent to produce rapidly for the team. He got to play a little bit on the second power play unit last season and did a good job with it. Without guys like Burakovsky and Kadri this season, he could set up for a big chance to move up the lineup. Next is Samuel Gerard. Sammy G is a young, talented defenseman that the Avs traded for from Nashville in 2017. However, due mainly to injuries, Gerard has been majorly inconsistent throughout his career. He makes a lot of solid plays while also making a lot of bad mistakes. At just 24 years old, he has had some awful luck with injuries in his career. His most recent one came, of course, with his broken sternum after a hit from Ivan Barbashev. Gerard is a solid second-pairing defenseman. However, the problem is his contract. He's on a very high $5 million contract for a very long 5 more years. There was a lot of talk about trading him away to keep Kadri this summer, but of course, it didn't happen. Gerard has the talent to break out this season and become a star again, and he could be a huge contributor for the Avs title defense season. However, if he continues to struggle, watch for Sammy G to be moved at the trade deadline, potentially for somebody like Patrick Kane or maybe JT Miller. Before we get into our final guy, we have some honorable mentions. For me, I would watch for guys like JT Compher, Logan O'Connor, and Alexander Georgiev. Of course, Compher and O'Connor are returning Avs from last season, and both had pretty good seasons, and of course had great playoff performances. Watch for them to continue to improve and move up the lineup, especially without guys like Burakovsky and Kadri. I could see Compher taking over that second-line center role, and O'Connor could be moving up to potentially the third and maybe even a few shows on the second line. Of course, one of the hot topics in the Avs offseason was Alexander Georgiev. They bring in the backup goalie out of New York, and I've seen a lot of people happy about this move, a lot of people not so happy. Personally, I think he's going to break out. I think he's going to have a great season. Is he going to be the best goalie in the league? No, but I think he's going to have a good season. He's going to become the Avs' long-term starter, and I would watch for him to be even better than Darcy Kemper was last season. And so those are my honorable mentions for guys to watch for this year. You may have seen the final player coming, and that is the second-year defenseman, Bowen Byram. Bo will enter his sophomore season with the Avs after being drafted 4th overall in 2019. He started his rookie year pretty strong, but unfortunately he had to take some time off in the middle of the year due to his concussion problem. He was limited to just 30 games played in the regular season, putting up a solid 17 points. Once he returned and got back into his groove, he really stepped up his game. He was an absolute animal in the playoffs for a rookie, playing all 20 games and putting up a solid 9 points. He was all over the place defensively and got to run a little bit on the second line power play unit. He reminds me a lot of Dallas Stars defenseman Miro Heiskanen. He isn't a huge goal scorer and he's not the flashiest player out there, but is still a big playmaker with his assist and passing threat. He is great on the back end and plays really smart. He looked like a veteran during last year's playoff run, and if he can stay healthy and play a full season this year, he's going to be a huge threat, and I could even see him possibly joining Makar and Taves as some of the best defensemen in the league. I don't think he'll be up there battling for a top 5 spot defensive-wise, but in my opinion, right now his biggest weakness is his shot. If he can figure out his shot, become a sharpshooter, he is going to become one of the best defensemen in the league, and the Avs are going to have one of the best defensive cores in the league. So let's pray he stays healthy this year, and I think he could really contribute to the Avs on the back end. So with that being said, these are the guys that I think you should keep an eye on this season. But what do you think? Obviously, maybe Nichushkin might break out into a star, but none of these other guys are going to be all-stars in the league. None of them are going to go to the all-star game in Florida, most likely. But without guys like Kadri and Burakovsky, big contributors to the Avs playoff run last year, guys need to step up. And to be fair, Burakovsky and Kadri were both hurt at certain times during the playoffs last year, and both were out of the lineup during certain times last year. And so I'm feeling pretty confident about these guys. A lot of these guys will step up their game, and I think a lot of these guys will fill the holes and be able to represent the Avs well and possibly match what we did last season and give us a great shot at the Cup. But like I said, what do you think? Any of these guys you don't think will step up their game? Are there any other guys that you think are going to step up their game? Let me know in the comments. With that being said, I'd like to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.